welcome to the Reading Room Live. That's right, we're live from Lincoln Performing Arts Centre and we're broadcasting on Siren 107.3 FM in Lincoln and sirenonline.co.uk around the world. I'm Paul Tyler and it's a great show we've got tonight. We've got poetry from John Osborne and Andrew Golding, music from the fabulous Michael Reeve, as well as the Reading Room's regular features. Jamie Mackay is going to bring us the musings of a muddled mind. Our regular book group reviewer Jill Hart will be giving you her recommendations for our ever-growing list of 101 books to read before you die. And Siren FM's American Dream Team co-host Jodie Orton is going to be reading her very own fairy tale. And of course, the big news. Second half of tonight's show will be an onstage interview with the writer, actor, comedian and presenter, Robert Llewellyn. We'll be talking to Robert about his TV and writing career, and he'll be reading from his new novel, News from Gardenia 2. Well, before all that, it's time to introduce our first artist, who first appeared on the Reading Room to promote her first superb novel, Flick. I've got 3 copies I'm going to give away tonight, which GQ predicted to become a slow burn cult classic. But here for the Reading Room Live, she's going to be reading from her new novel, Golden Boy, due for release early next year, and from the editor of The Kite Runner and the publishers of Salmon Fishing in the Yemen. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Abigail Tartellin.
Thank you, Paul. The novel I'm going to read from tonight is called Golden Boy. It's my second book, and it'll be published May 2013 by Weidenfeld and Nicholson in the UK and by Atria, a division of Simon & Schuster in the US. Golden Boy is the story of Max Walker. Tanned, blonde, athletic and attractive, Max is the perfect son, the perfect sportsman and a perfect crush for the girls in his school. He's even really nice to his little brother. His seemingly flawless family is about to get even more perfect. His dad is running for election to Parliament. The spotlight of the media is about to encircle their lives. But Max has a secret, and someone has found out. It's a novel about family, acceptance, courage, first love, and dealing with both the great changes that come with adolescence and with the unchangeable. The story is told from the perspectives of 5 people, including Max's little brother, Daniel. And I'm going to read 2 excerpts from Daniel's narration for you today. The second comes from later in the book, but the first is right at the very beginning. And here it is. My brother gets all A's at school and is generally always nice to everybody. He's on the county football team and he is captain. People like him because he's fair and he always makes sure the person who scored the winning goal holds the trophy in the picture for the paper. Whenever my family's in the paper, they show pictures of my brother. Mostly they cut me out. My brother's taller than me, and he has straighter and lighter hair, and my hair's dark and a bit curly, and some people say it's ginger, which I've been teased about at school. Mum says he looks like an angel and I look like a little imp. But I don't think she meant to be insulting when she said it, because she was smiling, like I'd be pleased. My brother's friends, Mark and Carl, are funny. They're humorous funny, but they're also strange funny. When they're at our house sometimes, they go all quiet when I walk in a room, and I say, "Hey, you were talking about me." And they say, "We weren't." And I say, "What were you talking about then?" And sometimes they make silly excuses, but sometimes one of them will say, "We were talking about girls." And my brother will say, "Really, Daniel, I promise, we were talking about girls." And then I believe them, because my brother would never, ever lie to me, because we are brothers, and we have a blood pact never to lie to one another. My brother's really popular with girls. I deduced this fact because a few times we have picked him up from school in the car, and he has been talking to a girl, and holding hands, and then once he was kissing a girl, and I was shocked and horrified, and Mum laughed at my mouth, which was wide open. And she beeped the horn, and she waved at him, and my brother smiled and went red, and got in the car. And when he got in the car, I said, "Why are you so red?" And he said, "Shut up, Daniel." And Mum laughed again, even harder. The best thing about my brother is that he is the most amazing player of World of War ever. He doesn't even play it that often. He only plays it with me. He plays more on the Xbox with Mark and Carl usually, and we play on the Wii downstairs with Mum and Dad sometimes. And he also very rarely, but occasionally, plays on the Sega. I play World of War most nights until 8 or 8:30, and then I have to either have a bath and go to bed, or just go to bed, but normally have a bath and go to bed. Then I will read to Mum before bed, or sometimes I will read to Dad, but usually Dad is not home yet. Sometimes my brother comes in and we have our talks, which are very interesting conversations about life. My brother says I am very wise, and he is right. I always have advice for him. We are very different people. Some different things about the two of us are good, though. Like, he doesn't know what he wants to be when he's older, but I am a very advanced robot designer for my age, and I know exactly what I want to be when I grow up, a robotic engineer. I will either make an entire robot race, or I will use my robot powers to add robotic extensions to normal human beings, so they can be whatever they want to be. People would come into my workshop, and I would look at them, and I would improve them, until they were absolutely perfect and couldn't be improved further. I would work on my brother and make him really big and muscly and fast as a cheetah. And I would give him a really deep voice and a buzz cut and a gun that formed from his left arm when his heightened senses told him we were in danger. I told my brother what I wanted to be, and he said it was cool, but unfortunately he wouldn't let me add extensions to him because he wanted to be who he was and see how that played out. I said that was stupid. Who wouldn't want to be perfect or a robot? And that is why I've chosen to write my class essay about my brother. Sincerely, Daniel Alexander Walker, age 9 4/5. Thank you. Later on in Golden Boy, when a secret about Daniel's brother Max is threatening to tear apart not only their family, but Max's life as well, the relationship between the brothers becomes tenuous. Daniel is kept in the dark about the secret, but one night he can't sleep thinking about the tension in the house. Max comes into his room and tucks in bed beside him, but instead of a bedtime story, Daniel asks for an explanation. Mum and Dad are so whispery these days, I say to Max. I want to know about grown-up stuff. What's the real scariest thing in the world, Max? And you have to tell me out of loyalty. You promised never to lie to me again, and you did a pinky promise. Max looks at me. In the dark, his seaweed-colour eyes are black with one small, thin oval of light. He breathes out, and I know he's going to tell me. So I take my hand away from his face, and I wait. He looks straight in my eye for a long time, then swallows and moves a little forward on the pillow. He thinks for a bit and opens his mouth. The scariest thing is a secret, he says, very slowly and sort of rhythmically. How can a secret be scary? I ask scornfully, but really wanting very much to know. Max swallows and breathes again, then looks at me. He thinks a bit and bites his lip. Secrets are like invisible maggots, Max says. No, they're like zombies, okay? They eat away at your brain. He touches my wrist. You know, like the zombies in Deadland. And then they eat your guts. So you've got none. You've got no guts and you can't be brave. And they eat your vocal cords. So you've got no voice. You can't speak. And they eat... What else do they eat? They get out of you and they eat the air around you. They make it all thin so, you know, you can't breathe. And then they eat the other people around you. They eat Mum and Dad. Is that what's happening now? He pauses. Yeah, but you can't ask them about it, okay? Because then they'll know I've told you all this and they'll be mad at me. I swear I won't tell them. All right. What do you swear on? I think. Both their lives. Wow, okay. We're both quiet for a minute, but then I have a question. All of them? Huh? Will it eat all of Mum and Dad until there's nothing left? No. He looks around like he's thinking. It eats bits of their souls and worries around, like it goes around their brains, nibbling at their brain cells. So they get mean and snappy because that's what happens when your soul gets eaten. And the eating eats them up at night because it hurts, so they get tired. And it eats at love and empathy. So the things that bind you to other people get gnawed away at until they're thin and easily breakable. What's empathy? Empathy is where you understand other people, but you feel the understanding rather than think. It's different from sympathy. It's like where you can imagine yourself as that person. Do you know what I mean? Like me and you, because sometimes I imagine I'm you. Do you? Yes. Why? I think. Because you're Max. And who's Max? Max asks. Max is... I get confused. What doesn't he understand? Max is Max. He's the best at World of War and he knows everything. Max clears his throat. Anyway, yeah, like me and you. Does the secret get your heart? I ask, when it eats everything. Yeah, bits of it. Does it get what's beneath your heart? What's beneath your heart? The centre. I think. You're you. The thing that beats like a drum and says, I am Daniel, or I am Max, I am Max. You know, how you know you're you. Does it get that bit? Max's mouth is open and he looks at me and breathes in like a little whoosh. I don't know. Why are your eyes wet? Allergies, he says, and he turns his face away from me. And we go to sleep. And I dream of assassinating secrets with bombs, nukes, and a rifle with a silencer on the end. Thanks for listening.